Since Nintendo won't make a Switch Pro, Valve went ahead and did. Meet the Steam Deck. This is something I've been wanting to make a video on for a couple of days, and if you enjoy what I have to say, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But in short, the Steam Deck is the most powerful handheld gaming device on today's market, and really you could say it's one of the most powerful handheld gaming devices in history. Effectively, this thing is right on par with what you would expect from about half of an Xbox Series S. With that being said, it still gives you the power of an Xbox One in the palm of your hand just for comparison's sake. And you can see the entire list of specs on the Steam Deck website if you do want to get into the nitty-gritty of it. But in short, this thing is way more powerful than a Nintendo Switch, which obviously, because of the design of the system itself, is what so many people are actually comparing this device to. But I kind of do take an issue with that because I don't think they're going after the exact same market here. First and foremost, the design of the system is very well done. It grew on me. Initially, I was a bit concerned, but I'm very impressed with the ratio of form to functionality. I think that's really well done here. I'm wary of, as you can see in that shot, the spacing of the thumbsticks and the face buttons. I think that's kind of strange to keep in the top corners of your device. And then I still don't know why Valve is so absolutely dead set on integrating touch technology into their device. No one needs a touchpad on the front of your system. But I do like the back paddles, as you can see here. That kind of bakes in something that we see on the SCUF controllers, on the Xbox Elite controllers, and that just adds an additional level of functionality to your system. In terms of ventilation, obviously they're taking a page right out of the Nintendo Switch's book with that, a bit of ventilation on the back, and then as you scroll down the actual landing page, you actually see they're going ahead and addressing this thumbstick drift issue that many modern controllers and most notably the Nintendo Switch have had to deal with in recent years. So they're going ahead, getting ahead of that and saying, we won't have that problem with this device. Will they have that problem? Time will tell, but it seems that that's not going to be the case. So that's nice to see they're going ahead and getting ahead of that problem before it even begins. Now let's talk about pricing. First and foremost, it didn't even matter. These things are all sold out, the pre-orders are gone, and as you can see here on the pricing section of the landing page, you aren't going to be getting one anytime soon because expected order availability is now Q2 of 2022 for the first two models and then Q3 of 2022 for the biggest and most expensive model. But what you can kind of process these three models as is effectively the $399 version being a last generation experience. I compared the power to an Xbox One, and with the $399 version, you will be getting the loading speeds of an Xbox One. It's basically the equivalent of a hard drive on your computer, and then when you take a step up, you actually get upgraded to an NVMe SSD at 256 gigabytes, so much faster loading times akin to what you would see on an Xbox Series X and S or a PlayStation 5. What's strange to me is that Valve defines the $529 version as faster storage and then the $650 version as fastest storage. I want to see more about these speeds because these are both NVMe SSDs and I'm kind of curious as to what technology each of these actually uses to create that faster versus fastest. But of course you also get a couple of bonuses. As you see in the $529 package, you get a carrying case and an exclusive Steam community profile bundle. Woo, you're really just paying for the NVMe SSD. Then there are a couple of other bells and whistles in the $650 package. You do get fastest storage, and then anti-glare etched glass, and on top of that, the carrying case and a virtual keyboard theme on top of that profile bundle. Again, who cares about the virtual keyboard, but you do get that additional bonus of more premium glass. If you scroll down a bit, you start to see some of the features. Portability meets power, your Steam library anywhere. Both of these are big bonuses here with this piece of hardware. But on top of that, there's also a dock that you can purchase separately. So if you do want to plug this in and play it in your living room on your TV, you effectively now have a living room gaming PC that can support up to 4K at 120 Hz and 8K at 60 Hz if I remember correctly. Something along those lines. You can look look up the official technical specs, I'll have this page linked down below, but it does give you that Nintendo Switch kind of versatility if you do, again, want to pay for that dock, and it's kind of a bummer that's not already included in this package, but Valve has said they are taking a hit on this hardware. The power that it affords is not making them money. They're just trying to get you in the door to get you to buy their hardware and hopefully in the future buy more games on Steam. And this could be a really good way to do it. I'm not going to lie, I think this could be their best option to get into the game when it comes to hardware. As I mentioned, there are plenty of tech specs available on SteamDeck.com if you want to see the entire rundown, and I will have that linked down below the YouTube video. But I have two big concerns. Number one, the weight, and number two, the performance of the battery. The weight of this device is 669 grams, which is about 1.5 pounds. That's very hefty in comparison to the Nintendo Switch, and so it could build up some fatigue over time. It just gets to be heavy. It's kind of a brick when it comes to the actual weight of the device. On top of that, depending on what game you're playing, you'll be getting between 2 hours and 8 hours of gameplay out of a single charge. Thankfully, this device comes equipped with USB-C, so the charging will be fast, but if you're taking a longer flight, or if you're just somebody that spends a lot of time playing very high-powered AAA games, you could be left with a little bit to be desired in the battery performance section of this device. To wrap up my personal first impressions, I like where Valve is going with this, and I would be in the market to get one of these if I played more of my games on PC. But the good news is, you don't just have to use Steam if you want to use this device, because effectively you can load any kind of launcher on this, you can install an entire version of Windows if you would like, and use this as a handheld gaming PC for Epic Games, for Xbox. In fact, I'm releasing a podcast tomorrow that's titled The Ultimate Xbox Handheld. This could be that option for you, depending on what your expectations are, and there is so much potential for this to be a very big deal. I know that Boogie2988 made a video talking about the possibilities of emulation of classic games on this piece of hardware. It can be whatever you want it to be. That's not necessarily what Valve has in mind, but it very well could be. In short, this thing breeds competition for the rest of these hardware producers like Nintendo, like Sony, like Microsoft, and competition breeds innovation. This will prove whether or not Microsoft needs to get into the handheld gaming space. This could produce a Vita 2 depending on how this thing performs, and so far, Valve is performing very, very well. Initially, people like myself asked why this device even needed to exist, and to some degree, I'm still wary of this device actually performing as it is advertised to perform. But if people enjoy the device and it continues to sell well, it's certainly going to be turning heads, and there is certainly going to be space for competition in the years ahead. So this could be a game changer for the future of handheld hardware. And I think about what Phil Spencer said on the most recent Kinda Funny Games cast, because he guested with the rest of the Kinda Funny crew and shared more about the company's aspirations for hardware. And he shared more about their relationship with Nintendo. And he said Nintendo is very special in the gaming space because it effectively is the only company in today's day and age that has sold a mobile device without a single cellular chip in it, without any kind of connectivity outside of the Wi-Fi space, and they continue to sell very, very well. Nintendo does well selling hardware in the mobile space, and why couldn't another company, such as Valve, or any of the rest of the competition, pull that off too? It just makes sense to give it a shot, and that's exactly what Valve is doing here. As other creators have said, it's a dangerous game to play because you do have the potential for this to completely flop. The Steam controller was not well designed. You had Steam Link, which was sort of cool, but ultimately didn't really connect with a wide audience. You had Steam Boxes, which were effectively pre-built gaming PCs that were kind of consoles, but also very limiting, and they were essentially a beefed up Ouya. These were all failed ideas, and this very well could be the fourth big failed idea from Valve. But without trying, you never know what could win, and this is certainly the biggest potential that Valve has had to see success with a device since they've been working with hardware, and that's pretty exciting to see. So let me know what you think about this piece of hardware. Are you getting a Steam Deck? Do you want a Steam Deck? And do you think there's a place in the gaming industry for a new piece of hardware? I know that I've been playing a lot of games on the go recently, or just whenever I don't want to stare at my screen or sit at my computer, I can just relax on my bed or relax on my couch and just play some games old school with my Backbone 1 on my iPhone. So that could be the gateway drug into me spending insane amounts of money on this piece of hardware when it comes to comparing it to something like a Nintendo Switch Lite or the equivalent software and hardware. But I'll let you guys go. Thanks again for watching today's video, and I would love to hear what you think.